All right. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding that. Okay. So, how is it going to go today? Um, let's see. I have to introduce myself first. I'm Bhavani. If you have not known me before, I'm a software engineer. I've been working for the last 8 years. I don't like to put myself in a box and say, hey, this is what I do and this is what I don't. I try to experiment with everything that comes along my way. And that's how I've done backend, Python, data engineering, infrastructure, and whatnot, you know. So that is where I am right now. And I put out this community finally after putting it away for 4 years. The called the Learning Dev. And the Learning Dev is where what we are currently doing. It's a fun space for us to come together as developers and learn something over a weekend. And this is not pertain to online, but the first one we are doing it online. And I want to very vividly insist on this is not a boot camp, this is not a training session, this is not a workshop, this is not a meetup where I talk, you listen, this is not a cohort based course. All of us are going to be working, and for this, you don't need to know anything per se. You don't need to be a master, and that's the second step, right? If you don't know what's going on here, then probably you're in the right place. Um, so the idea is every session we will have a topic and we will have a few resources like this. For this one, a huge shout out to Joseph, who has put out these two projects. Uh, the one that we'll be following today is actually this one, the first, second one, where we'll be building a data pipeline from scratch. And the idea for the day is to get this thing installed in your laptop and start working on it, understand what it is, and so on. So by the end of today, if you get like zero point 0.1 version of this whole project done, that is a victory. That's what we are looking for. Uh, let's take 5 minutes before that and start introducing ourselves. Here is under discussions, in this repository, you will see introduce yourself here. Please go introduce yourself here. And if you have not, if you've already introduced yourself, please go to one of these things and start commenting on other people's thing. Like if you find someone interesting, ask more questions or whatnot. So we're going to take 5 more minutes to just do the introductions. Introduce yourself first and then interact with someone who has already introduced before. I'm going to put the link in the chat again, and then I'll guide you through what's next. Sounds good? All right. So that was 5 minutes. I see a lot of introductions and a lot of engagement. I'll definitely take time to, review it further, but keep them coming. Let's move on to the next section where I introduce the project of the day. And let's start. So again, this README is like your guidebook for the day. What are we building is these two. One is setting up your data engineering project repository, and the second one is the project itself. If show of hands, how many of you already know Python and you have never worked with Python? Or you can use the chat also. We all know Python, have used, never worked on Python, no Python, bit of Python. Okay, great. Um, we will come to the Python section very soon. After all, data engineering is all about mostly Python. I cannot discard the Scala and the R people, but somewhere in this whole thing, there is going to be a lot of Python you might not understand. So if at all you don't understand anything, you can use this book, which I recommend to almost everybody. This is Think Python, and each chapter covers everything about Python. So you can go to a specific section and read about that more. And that's what we will be doing for most of this thing. Uh, so for the first maybe 15, 20 minutes. Why I'm saying 15 minutes is yesterday I tried to set up the actual project repo and it took some time to run. So for the first 15-20 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to clone this repository, which is the actual project repository. And you can find the link to that here. This is the third point. I'll also put it here. This is the actual project repository. We are going to clone it. Oops. Clone it, and there are setup instructions here, right at the bottom, running locally. We are going to try and set this up. Why? Because yesterday when I was setting up, it took a lot of time and it had some issues in there. So we're going to try and find those issues, get your project up and running first, and then go nitpick into each of this. I hope you have Docker in your local system. If not, installing Docker, all of that is going to happen. And whenever you have a trouble with any of the steps, like, hey, I don't know how to clone, hey, I don't know how to make this particular thing happen, please put that on the chat and I'll attend to it immediately for the first 15 minutes. And then we'll start working on the project. Sounds good? Okay. If you don't have the repository link, here is it, and wish I can share the timer screen.
Okay, hi, Maurish here. Just a quick question. So we are cloning this repo, right? So this is just trying to get it up in the system. So this is just to get the gist of what we are going to build today.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, fine.
Yeah, right now everything feels like, oh, what the hell is going on? But we will get to that very quickly. So I have put 15 minutes on the
Hello,
top.
hi Bhavani.
Yes,
I think the make file which is there, it's only for Linux only, right? I think it won't work on Windows.
correct. So if you're on
Okay.
Windows, what you
Mm.
can do is, I don't know how this works exactly because I haven't tried it. You can use CodeSpace.
Okay.
So for that, I think you would need to fork this and then use the CodeSpace.
Yeah. I will do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you have issues, please use your chat. I think my sharing is weird. Yeah.
Okay, it's my first time using Docker. Should we sign in into the Docker application? Because some reason when I click on sign in, it doesn't work.
I don't think you need to sign into it. I'm not sure how it works nowadays, but mostly you don't have to sign in. You just have to install it and then do everything from CLI.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Anyone having trouble installing Docker itself?
Is the creation of code spaces is supposed to take a lot of time, or should it happen in a instant?
Come again? Sorry.
And the code spaces that it was we are using Windows instead, does it require some time to get created, or it will happen?
Do you mean like this section? Sorry, this section.
I think he is referring to that code space instead of local machine.
Yeah, we use code.
CodeSpace, yes, it does take some time to set up.
Okay.
I haven't done it personally, but I'll also try that. Why not? Since I have already set it up. Create a fork. Here is the code spaces. I think I should share my screen. Also, the timer is just a reminder for us to check in constantly, not that you have to do it in 15 minutes. This is not a race that we are running. I think that's pretty fast. Yeah, let's see. And this part does really take time because it has to clone Docker and everything. Sorry, get the images and everything.
No, I opted for it. The new tab open means is setting up your code space.
Not sure. you. I don't know. Maybe it won't like this.
Would it be worth it if you shared your screen to see where we're seeing a difference?
Come again?
I forget who it was that was having the problem, but
Mhm.
if they shared their screen, maybe we could
We can do.
troubleshoot.
Able to set it up using Apache Airflow dashboard for the first time. Wow, nice. That's a lot of progress for 15 minutes. So my camera will just went bust. Great. Jazz, do you want to share your screen and show us? I don't know whether.
Yeah, like I'm connected to calls to my mobile and doing it.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's
I'll
awesome.
see about programming.
Sure. Working. There we go. Right on me. For those of you who have set it up, we have some more time. So the next thing is go to the make file and see what's there, because this is the command we just ran. Make up is literally upping a lot of things here, which is permissions and then Docker spin up. So figure out what's happening here. There are a bunch of things. If you don't understand anything, it's fine. Just see, get a gist of what's happening. The main one is this one. So it says Docker spin up, which means Docker compose build, Docker compose up. That's what's happening here. And then there is something called a setup con, which is setting up some connections.
So this command sleep 30 is part of the make file itself, right? Should we run it again?
No.
Because
When you do makeup, all of this gets run. So like perms is this one, Docker spin up is this one, and then sleep is 30, and then setup con. All of those gets run one after the other.
so after everything, as per the GitHub readme here, I can see that I should run sleep 30 again, but you said we
Not
can skip that.
necessarily. I think
Okay.
this is print out sleep 30 if I'm not wrong.
It showed sleep 30 for me. And
Mhm.
yeah. So should we run make CI after that?
Not necessarily. Make up should be good enough. Make CI is just to ensure everything is up and running. If you go to 8080, you should see Airflow here. Like it should be a screen like this.
Got it.
Actually, there is a username and password which will be Airflow. No, admin Airflow. I don't know. This happens to me quite a lot. Yeah, there we go. Airflow. Never mind. So everybody's setup is good. We have 18 more seconds. I have a code being used, so make up process stop. Yeah, I also had the same thing yesterday because I ran a Postgres for my work and it was hogging 5432. Do you want to oops. How do I make it stop? Is that mine? I don't know how to make it stop. Just 1 second. Okay, great. I don't like the clock. Anyways. Because your Docker is running, that's why it's hogging. So if you go to Docker desktop and see if you have anything else that's hogging 5432. Oops. Yeah, for example, I have something called ACE running here, and it had Postgres running and it had Redis running. So see if anything else is running. If not, you
Oh
take
yeah, I have Postgres.
this is something that I had yesterday. Okay, we are on time. So what were some of the issues that you guys faced? Are we meant to clone on Docker? No, you clone and start the project in Docker. Everybody able to set it up? Any issues? The 5432, you go to your Docker desktop, see if there is anything running at all, and then hogging the same port as 5432. Stop it, restart it. Should be good. Huh, that's half my memory. Great. Hamadin, can you elaborate on what you meant by are we meant to clone? Where is this Docker info? I thought ask was just install it. Not sure what this Docker info means. Alright, so far what we have done is share my screen. In this repository, here. In this repository, we have cloned the repo. You must have Docker already installed. We had run this command called make up, and it should have brought up your Airflow instance like this, and it should have a DAG. That's pretty much what we did. If everything went well, you should have the screen up. Yeah, the username and password both is Airflow for the Airflow instance. If we are here, great. If not, please continue. And if you have issues here, let me know. Follow the instructions in the this communication. That's okay. You can start setting it up. It will take you like 10-15 minutes for that. But after this, for next session. Okay. So the project that we are going to do for the day, which is very important to set it up. The data that we are dealing with today is like user purchase and user behavior metric. Before we go into this, I have to give you like a data engineering 101. So, you know, can stop this actually and see if we can share a whiteboard. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, that works. You all can see my whiteboard, right? So let's do a small data engineering 101. I don't know how to use it. Cool. Okay, I'm going to pause the questions for some time. Okay, I think we are in collaborative mode. Please do not do this. Okay, cool. So in like data engineering, it's not very popular as it is today, but it kind of evolved to being the hype of the market. But the whole ecosystem has been alive for 15 years, as same as the time of software engineering, right? But what made it so popular these days is actually the fact that we have a lot more tools, and I will actually show you an ecosystem tool later, which has like minimum 300 tools, and that tools is what's making data engineering such a hype market nowadays. Because there is so much tools, there is so much marketing, and because there is so much marketing, there is so much hype. But at the end of the day, what data engineering is all about is moving data from one place to another. That's it, from A to B. When you move it from A to B, it might get consumed by C, it might get consumed by D, might get consumed by E, and there is going to be all these use cases that's going to pop up. And because we have to support all this, we have to structure it in certain ways, and that purely depends on what those use cases are. And that's why data engineering, unlike software engineering, does not come with a lot of guidelines as such, because based on the business use case, the whole logic, whole ecosystem, the tools that you use, everything is going to differ. But there are a few fundamental things that you can understand. The first one is, again, data engineering is a huge field, but you can broadly classify into two sections. One is batch, another one is stream. Batch, you might know, a file comes today, let's say a sales data comes from a POS system. The Starbucks next to your door does all the sales every day, uploads a file, and then calls it a day. So that is a batch. If Starbucks fails to upload it today, tomorrow we can upload it together. Nothing in the world is going to stop. But then there are certain things like streams, which is like the video call today. If this goes nuts, I'm going to lose my brain, right? So that is stream data processing. So there is batch and there is stream. Today, we are going to look at only batch. And when I say batch, it can be just loading data from 1 to 2. It can be loading data from 1, making some transformations here, and then moving it to 3, and then 3 can move it to 4, 5, and so on. If something fails here, we can most probably go back and then fix something over there, restart the process, and it goes on like that. So that's pretty much what we are going to do today. And this is what brings us to the first OOPS concept. Sorry, not OOPS concept, it's OOPS and the concept. This is what is going to first bring us to the concept. It's called ETL, export, transform, and load. So you pull the data from some source, transform it, and load it to another location. So that's what all this batch usually would be. There is also one other thing called export, load, and transform, which is where you connect to an external source, pull the data completely into your ecosystem, and then do the transformations. Both are predominant these days, but we will stick with ETL. And in the system of batch, today we are going to focus purely on batch. In the ecosystem of batch, there are a few tools that we will use for transformations. First one, if you're doing analytics, right? If you want to derive some business insights out of it, we will use some language like BigQuery, or an equivalent will be Spark, which is also we're going to use today. And the second one is Airflow, which again we'll use today. This is not particular to batch. This is a data orchestrator tool. And that's going to come together, help us navigate this whole ecosystem. So if you see here, I think I can share. Okay, I have to share my screen for this. Before that, let me quickly check the chat. There are some errors. Okay, Airflow. Okay, I'll check the errors in a bit, but let's continue. We don't need to whiteboard anymore. So that is the project for the day, which is we will be loading some CSV data from into an S3 bucket, and then from S3 bucket we will run some Spark, Apache Spark transformations, which will again get loaded into a bucket. Finally, all of that goes into a DuckDB. Here from database, we pull some data, put it in S3 bucket, and then again use all of that combined to create a dashboard. That is the goal for the day. Now, you might be a absolute beginner, you don't know what the CSV file is, you don't know what an S3 bucket is, what its purpose, what is a Spark. All of that is completely viable. What we are going to do is next, I think we'll take the next 45 minutes at least to go through each one of these sections If you don't know CSV, Google CSV, find out what it is, understand how it's structured. If you don't know S3 bucket, Google S3 bucket, see what it is, right? And then just understand what is going on here. Basically, we will take data from one place and move it across, and while moving it across, we will derive some insights. The data that we are going to use today looks something like this. It's a user purchase data and the movie review data. Based on that, we are trying to figure out what their behavior is. So, does their purchase quality affect, like what they purchase affect the movie review, or does the movie review affect the user purchase? That is the fundamental understanding we are trying to get using this data. And this data, if you have cloned the repository, it sits somewhere here under data. You see user behavior metrics, you see the movie reviews, and this is the CSV file. I don't know how huge is this. Yes, and yeah, my system might crash. This page is like huge. It has about 30,000 records or so. Let's not do this. Yeah, it has more than 30,000 records. So that's the data we are going to load, and that's the data we are going to play with. Definitely intensive. Any questions on data engineering 101 itself, like just a basic understanding of moving data around? Cool. Okay, so now that we are here, right? Try running this DAG and see whether it succeeds. How do you try running it? Go to user analytics DAG. Something is not okay. ELT, ETL, can you explain one more time? What is data orchestration tool? What post the stuff? Okay, great. What is the DAG? Directed as IP stuff. Okay, cool. Great questions. All of those are great questions. ELT and ETL. I have to bring back the whiteboard for us. Can you see the whiteboard though? It should come up in a bit. Can you guys see the whiteboard? Yeah, cool. So let's say you're a business and you have data coming from different sources. One is your Salesforce, where you're selling all your stuff, and then you also have a shop on, let's say, I don't know, give me another tool. This is not a drawing floor. We will have another session for that. Let's say you have Google Analytics data coming in, and then you also have something else. Let's say your vendor who is giving you all this data, giving, like, for example, you're running Zomato and all the restaurants are sending you menus every day, and that's coming and sitting in an S3 bucket. Now, these sources are completely different. The data structure is completely different. You have two options, ETL or it is again an ELT. In ETL, what you will do is you will pull data from here, you will pull data from here, you will pull data from here, transform it, make any transformation depending on your business. How does my Google Analytics data correlates with the Salesforce data? And then you store it to a database. So transformations happen first and then the loading happens. In case of ELT, what happens? Whatever data it is, Salesforce, GA, whatever it is, pull it from all the places, store it, load it, and then do whatever transformations you want. That is the distinction. Both are perfectly viable depending on what your use case is. Sometimes all the data that comes from different places is completely messy. In that case, I am going to take all the mess, keep it in my system because I just need it in case of back referencing, and then I work on it. What is a DAG? Another great question. Data orchestration tool. Okay. So when we're talking about the tools itself, batch tools, the tool that does the transformation is Spark. You have other tools also, which is another tool is the Apache Beam, and another tool is BigQuery. And if you take the ecosystem, there are about 300 plus tools. Now, to manage all of this in one place, you need one tool. That tool is the data orchestration tool, data orchestrator. Hey, I want to pull data from S3. Data orchestrator will take care of it. I want to run this particular thing in Spark. Data orchestrator will take care of it. So that is data orchestrator. And what is a DAG? How does it do it? It does via DAG, which is this. Oh, my DAG went missing because I something probably issues. A DAG will look something like this. I don't know whether you can see properly. Open image and new DAG. Here you go. So this is a DAG, a directed acyclic graph, which does not have any loops in it. And this DAG is constructed in such a way. This is where we use Python again. You write certain scripts to derive a workflow. So that's what we are going to do next. For the next, now we have about 45 minutes again. 45 minutes, 40 minutes exactly. So next what we're going to do is get your Airflow up and running, try to run this DAG, see what's coming out of that. And then once you're here, go to this user underscore analytics.py, go through this, see what's going on. Understanding the repo, it's
Your screen is blank.
oops. Okay, just understanding what's going on in this repo, how this whole thing is coming together. If we can get that at 12, we are good. 12 IST again. So let's put about, I said 45, but let's put about 30 minutes on the clock. And how do I start it? Never mind, I'll use the horror one. Put 30 over here. Airflow. There's definitely something wrong with my local setup. I'm gonna deal with that. Actually, which one of the sources would you follow for the instructions in the articles? So the article is the README file actually. What this person has done is so taken the, let's see, run this report. This is almost what's in the post also, which with some, for S3 account, do we need AWS? Great question. Again, if you look at the infrastructure here, architecture. Yeah, we will be using something called Minio, which is running in your local system. You don't need AWS. Everything in this repository is in your local, so you don't need it. Default username and password for Minio. Let's see. If you guys can see this. What did I do? By the way, I don't have all the answers. So this is where we are setting the Minio access key, Minio password, and everything. It's in your Docker Compose file. So that's what we will be using also to create certain connections in Airflow. A good place to start will be actually this blog post and go through this. And whenever you don't understand certain things, go to Google, ask those questions, see what you figure out, and this is how learning works.
Hey, Bifani, when you were showing on the whiteboard the ETL kind of like diagram on the left and then the other on the right, is there a name for the one on the right?
ETL and ELT?
Oh, okay. The right was ELT. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
ETL and ELT. See, my code spaces has given up on me. I guess. Anyone using M1 Mac? You might have a very interesting issue. M1 and
I'm using a Mac, not M1.
M1, okay.
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
it installs AMD Java version, you will have some issues. So you might want to
Okay.
change to ARM.
It's good to notice as of now, didn't face any issues. I mean, like while running any applications or anything, did you face that issue? Like while running that?
Yeah, I did. When I was running the workflow
Okay.
for the first time, it did come up. Yes, your Java is not there. M1, M2 guys, so if you go try to run the workflow for the first time, that's what I'm trying to show you guys for the last 15 minutes. Let's see. M1, M2 people try running the workflow inside Airflow. It will fail at Spark because the Java is AMD version and not ARM version. Mine is not coming up for some reason. So I'll figure it out.
So I'm kind of lost. So in my Docker like UI under the beginner DE project, whatever this is, container, I guess, I only see two images, Postgres and Airflow init one. Did I have to like do something first in the web
No.
UI?
You mean here?
Or like the previous view, like I only see like you have like 6 or 7 like things there, but I only see for me I only see Postgres and then Airflow init one. Like those are the only.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Airflow init happens first and then all
yeah.
your other stuff comes up.
Okay. So does Airflow init one kick off all those other ones?
Yes, so it has to do some initialization for Airflow environment. The first time it might take some time, not 10 minutes or so, but it takes some time initially and then
Oh,
it runs on
so did you did you manually like press play inside this Docker UI to get that running? Or okay.
You can go inside this and check if something is failing.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Let me see.
I don't see failures, but my airflow is not up for some reason. Maybe I'm running.
It ran through and then I guess it said it was done with migrating and then it just exited.
That's what it's supposed to do. So we
Oh,
have
okay. So got it.
like
Okay, so it's working as intended. So what did you do to get all the other kind of images like
Okay.
up?
So like now you can see it will come up in a bit, I guess. So now you can see like my airflow init went down, it exited,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
rest of the things are still running. So once it goes down, everything else comes up. So in Docker Compose, how does that happen is there's
Okay.
depends. See,
Oh,
so for Airflow to come up, Postgres has to be healthy, and Postgres uh, has, I think, Airflow init will be depending on something else.
okay. So maybe when I did the make up or make CI, maybe that's
Make
what
up
kick.
to bring you everything. If it's not, then I recommend none of these containers are coming up, is it?
Yeah.
That's definitely
Only the Postgres one. Okay, so let me take a look at my logs then.
some other question did come up in the struct is basically input that needs for your DD pipeline. Thanks for that, Moresh. Isn't Docker's check isn't for the code spaces, right? To go about with the setup. Definitely code space is better. No doubts there. But for me, I don't know. Both my local and code spaces has given up on me today. So that's just life, I guess. Whichever comes up, I'll use it. You don't see those graphs on the local. Okay. I don't have my graph up either to show you guys. I wish it comes up. Setup connection. That is a very Airflow thing. I'll come to that. I'm glad you guys are going and finding these things. Great question. I'll come to that in a bit. Let me try doing this.
Oh, okay. My Docker window height was just small, and so I only saw 2, but it scrolls and I didn't notice that. Okay, sorry.
Massive UI. I don't know why mine is not coming up. I think I did screw up with a lot of things. Okay. Java ARM is right. Purple.
And then sorry, so now with everything running, what was I supposed to click something now, or like is there like a next step?
Yes. Try to open Airflow. It should be running at 8080.
Oh, the web UI. Yeah.
And then try running it. See if there is any errors. There will be one DAG. There should be one DAG.
Okay. So I see like pause and then also trigger. Is there any difference with like which one? I guess I could just trigger.
Unpause and then trigger.
Oh, okay. Okay, it looks like when I just triggered it, also unpaused. Okay.
Oh, maybe they changed it.
Um,
Trying to get my local running. It ran all this while, and then no, it's not. Make restart. Next is me.
hmm. I have also got a failure.
Ah, one fail. First failure. Amazing. Teacher, do you want to share your screen and show us what failed, why it failed? Oh my god. So my colleague is here. It's Shihab. Hi, Shihab.
Hey,
I didn't expect that. Thank you so much for joining.
yeah.
Flow image not appearing. I don't know what that means seriously. If you guys can share your screen, this is your time. I don't have all the answers, but I might have some answer. Movie purchase CS S3. Can you like it shows red, right? Click on that red. Let's see if I can annotate. Like no, go back. One second. Let me try to annotate the screen. See, this is how we know we are getting old because everything changed in Zoom and I'm losing my mind. Where the hell is annotate option?
My condolences.
Okay. On the left, you see user purchase to S3, correct? There is a red box next right to it. Yeah, click on that. And on the top, you will see logs, graph, everything. Yeah, logs. I think you need to go back to that red and click on it. Something happened. Yeah. No, still not right. Can you refresh the page? Your tag went through. That's amazing. Who was that? Vision, you will see dashboard. So that just HTML code. Okay, you're already one step ahead. That's amazing. We'll come to that. I wonder what happened. Will it take quest remote control? Yes. Ravi, do you want to tell us what or Airflow image not appear in Docker? What does it mean? Check task logs. Okay.
Hi, Bhavani. So I tried to execute that DAC, so it's continuously keep on failing. Then I saw then the Docker And I mean, I can see your Docker image in your. I can see the image in Docker or in system, but I'm not able to see it in my system. Maybe that is the reason I'm not able to execute that DAG. Is my assumption is correct?
Not really, because what you see here is the depiction of if your Airflow is running and you can see the UI, it means your Docker images are running somewhere. Maybe you're
Oh.
looking at the wrong place. Are you on containers? This doesn't matter. It's just for you to have a look at it. This doesn't matter as long as your stuff is running and it's not crashing like mine did.
Okay, I will have a look.
Yeah.
Okay, my Airflow, I think it's failing. We I'll share my screen. Can I share
Yes.
my?
Yes. The DAG failing is an amazing signal that you're trying something. That is expected. So don't worry about stuff failing. In fact, mine failed 3 times before I could get something running. So choose that.
Quit and reopen Zoom. I'll join back.
Okay. Anyone's is successfully running, want to share their screen? Actually, Ranjini, it will be great if you can share your screen and show us.
Yeah. But I don't really know what I'm doing. Just I don't even have Docker open yet.
Even I don't know what I'm doing. So great, we are on the same page.
Okay. Let me see. Just give me 1 minute or 5 seconds.
Bhavani, I actually tried.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hello.
yeah, Omkar, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I actually tried running it for twice, but both times it failed at S3 bucket itself. So if you could help here, like why it might be failing, because I'm not able to understand or debug where is it failing actually.
Okay,
So
let's do that. I think most of us will be in that position only. And if it's working for you in the first run, it means you have the exactly right setup.
it's
This
here
has
itself.
quite a lot. Yeah, click on it. And go to logs.
Okay.
So this is where you see the logs. And from here, using AWS default, it's okay. Let's try from here, deprecated. Post task execution logs, can you expand it? It's just that's just a warning, yeah. Scroll down.
Create connection, yes.
So it's trying to make a connection to AWS and it's failing there. Can you scroll down further? Yeah. Yeah, could not find the endpoint. So can you open your Docker?
I am actually using code spaces. So.
Code space. What is running? So I'll tell you what's happening, right? You have something called as Minio running in your local machine. That is that's going to simulate the S3 bucket. So if that is not running, then you have this error saying, hey, something failed.
Minio was running initially before I even started this Airflow. Let me check probably. What should be done then, like to overcome this?
Check the Minio logs if it's up properly. Like nothing crashed, the image is up. I don't think it has a UI or anything. It just runs.
Okay, let me check that. Cool, thank you.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen.
Yes.
So I have this movie classifier step that's failing.
Yeah, this is the Java problem.
Okay. How do I at least identify whether it's Java problem or not? Just to how do I navigate through the logs?
Can you click on that one of those red dots that's failing.
Oh, okay. This dot, yes. Okay.
And go to logs.
But I was just clicking on this item and looking for the log.
Right. Yeah, Airflow UI, that alone takes another day to learn. Okay. I'm just giving you all the taste, and then it's for up to you to, go further. So here, again, it's not very evident why it was failing in the first row.
Mhm.
So Spark fails. And then if you go up a little bit, somewhere here it will say, yes, line number 71, user lib JVM AMD. Yes, that line. So it says no such file or directory. Then I went and found out mine is an ARM machine, this is an AMD. And the
Okay.
fix for that is in your Docker file, you need to change Java to ARM instead of AMD.
Okay, so that will be on my make file, is it?
That will be on your Docker file. Actually, let me share.
Stop sharing.
This is the line that you will change on your Docker file.
Docker compose.yml, right?
Okay, some people actually got up to generate dashboard. This is actually a problem that I was also having, Maurice specifically. The problem was I could figure out what the problem was, but I couldn't do a fix. So if you go to your Docker, like the Docker Docker container, and go to this place. Oops, can't annotate. Basically, go to this. This path is wrong, and we need to change that in our DAG file. So for those of you who couldn't get this part running, generate dashboard, you have to go to your Docker wherever that is running.
Mhm.
Scheduler. Bring this
I mean,
down.
execute, I mean, getting into the Docker container.
Yes, getting into the Docker container
Okay.
and show you because I was right here when I was.
So you want me to share the screen? Maybe I'm inside the container.
Oh, sure.
I can share the screen.
Sure.
You need to stop sharing for me to.
I did that. Okay. There we go. Okay, can you go to that particular CD in your home directory? It's not /opt.
Okay.
I cannot see the bottom of your screen. Can you bring up your terminal maybe?
Yeah, I'll do.
Yeah. /opt. Yeah. Bin ls under this tools.
x64.
Path that is
No?
missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
CD into that. Go all the way further. Then copy the current directory.
Okay. Create a new directory as AR64 and copy the entire content into Overtor.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
What we can do is if you go to the repo, open the DAG. No, user analytics.py, that one, just the DAG. Yeah, at the bottom you will see that quant path being mentioned. You just have to update it. The markdown path. What do you think? I don't think so, no? Yeah, no, I'm wrong. I haven't figured this part out yet.
Maybe I'll just search.
But yeah, with that path, you have to swap that with the right one.
Okay.
go to the quant install file, quant.sh, auto. Yeah, somewhere here is the install bin slash auto something else.
Is it the same? Currently, maybe ARM AMD.
Yes, I did try ARM, but after that my Docker didn't come up. Maybe you can also try.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just see what file is listed over there.
Sure.
And
Yeah, mine. It is listed.
is it? Okay. I will check. Fingers crossed. Let's try it out.
What are we trying to solve now?
Can we explain how to solve create S3 fail and movie classifier one? Airflow on VM in cloud less issues. Definitely Airflow anywhere is issues only, so I'm not surprised. Maurice,
Just
can you tackle this in your end and show
sure.
us? Meanwhile, I'll show how to work with the JDK error, which is the sorry, not this one. See, none of my Airflow instances are up, and I don't have the focus to bring it up either. So I'm just going to bring it. Oh, our timer went down. Great. TAT.
What's a proper restart after changing the JDK? Because I tried to stop it in Dagger and try to run it again, but seems like I'm getting the same error.
Oh, it shouldn't, because we changed the Docker. It should have rebuilt it.
So
Can
yeah, go ahead.
no. To test that, can you go into you guys can see my screen, right? The whole
Nope.
one? No? Okay. Where is Zoom now? I'm gonna spread. So you changed this to ARM, right?
Yes.
Okay. This part is not required. This is not required. You can work without that. So then you can go to your Docker and then see if this path exists. Default JDK. CD. Yeah, see if that path exists. If it exists, it should work.
Where did you get the terminal? Sorry, I'm very new to Docker.
Are you seeing this on your Docker?
Yeah, can you just go back once? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
In the project.
In the project, there is scheduler, and inside scheduler, you can see exac, which will bring you the Docker, like you are inside the container now. So the movie classifier one ratio change your Java to ARM if you're on M1 mission. If you're on M1 Mac, M1, M2, M3, you're on ARM mission, and when you run it with AMD, it fails. So in your Docker file, you will change this line to ARM, and that's pretty much the only change. Stop your make restart, and yours should run again. Sangeet, did you restart after changing the Docker file?
No, I just hit stop on Docker and then try resume again.
Oh, that also works. Oh, if you hit stop and then just play again, it won't work because it has to rebuild the image. For that, you have to do make up again.
Okay. I'll try and make restart.
What other questions do we have? can check the make file for various commands. Yes. Make down, shuts down. Yes. How to restart? Okay. Okay. No more questions. Let's go to the network. Does that keep happening to me? Weird. As for Minio, anyone got to fix the Minio issue?
What was the issue in the menu? Sorry.
Or some people were not able to connect to it. The S3 tasks are failing, saying like you cannot connect to Minio host.
Okay.
Bhavani, I actually restarted the complete thing. Like I just made the make restart. My menu is running right now, but my airflow went off.
I think Airflow will take some time. The init is running at least.
Yes, I guess. Let me check.
If init is running, it will take some time for it to come up with the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, it's not correct. Cool, thank you.
Maurice, did changing the path help?
Yep.
It did?
Yes. And the DAG ran successfully.
Show us.
Uh,
First the fix what you did, and then the
yeah, fix is just referring this to ARM64. This is an alias we can change on watch that's fine. It doesn't impact. Okay, once that is done, what I did was just I actually removed the images which were there, just to make sure. Of course, the compose build would take the new one just to make sure that it does not reuse a older image. I removed the older images and then ran the makeup, and it rebuilt the image. And then the path now, instead of referring to x88, I mean like AMD based, refer to ARM based path.
okay. That's all the only that's the only change.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Show us the output.
Okay. So this is where I'm figuring out what happens next. What I mean, like what I should do next, in the sense like how I can know that this ran successfully, and what does it mean that it ran successfully when they say generate dashboard.
Holy cow. Ravi, I think your Minio is not running. Maybe you can try restarting it. See if there is any error. Maurish, can you show us your logs?
Yeah.
I don't know what. Oh, nice. So it didn't band off.
Oh, okay. Save to dashboard. That's normal. Then I go to localhost 8080.
No, I don't think it's hosted in Airflow. It's just a file that you have in your
Oh,
your project.
got it. Okay. Then I will try to get that file out of the Docker, or maybe volume mount has been unused.
Should have been there. Should be there. Check inside the DAGs folder itself, maybe.
There's no volume mount for this. Okay,
Sure.
I'm just checking if there's any volume mount. No. Okay. Sorry, you asked me to check and get inside the Docker, right?
Oh, never mind. The blog should have something. Never mind.
Okay, perfect. I'll go through. Okay, I think
Slash script slash dashboard
that's
slash
what I
dashboard.
will do. So let's quickly get that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Padmanabhan. And by the way, Padmanabhan is myself from the same company, and I just seeing him in the chat right now.
Nice.
Right.
Management system.
Okay.
It's not a site. It will be there in your workspace or not.
It will be in your repository. You have to open it like an HTML file.
Repository.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. We got it. My God, my diary. Well, let's go find that. The growing between dashboard.
Yeah, you can see like a spending distribution, average spending per customer, and all of that. Now that for those of you who has got it up and running, you're on the wild run. You can pretty much go from any direction you want. Go break things, go figure out, change the Spark script, see how the Spark script is written, see how the DAG is written. You're set, right? From here, you can take whatever direction you want. If you want to see, change the dashboard, see some other metric, please go for it. Understand the DAG, play with this as much as you can, and tell us what you find at the end of the next session. The next checkup we'll do in 45 minutes. Meanwhile, anyone who's still struggling setting it up, like me, please share your screen and we can figure this out.
At the last step, when generate dashboard part.
Sangeet, you also should change it to AMD, ARM.
Here specifically. So where do I need to make the change? It's in code spaces. So
Sharing, no one sharing screen.
Oh.
Omkar, you're sharing screen. Okay?
yeah.
So go to your doc. Are you on Mac M1, M2?
No. It's code spaces.
Code spaces is failing. That's interesting. Can you open the logs? Click on it. Click on logs.
Could not find the file. Just
Oh, maybe try running, just triggering it again, because it looks like it passed, like one run passed, like the one immediately before.
okay.
One pass?
Okay, nice. Even I didn't notice that. So we'll trigger it again. Yep. Let me check and get back to you. Thank you.
So if you're working on CodeSpace again, CodeSpace, what is the step forward? Is another question. You will find your output finally inside DAG, inside scripts, inside dashboard, dashboard.html. I think that's. See, I think it's previously written into here. Is it generated? Maybe. Oh, maybe it is generated. very surprised.
Sorry, what was the issue in the last step? The generate dashboard is failing for me.
Is failing for you. So
Yeah.
the problem is there is something called as Quarto, which is again installed using this file called
Okay.
quarto.sh. This again is an AMD file. You have to change it to ARM.
Yeah. Okay. Got
If
it.
we are on M1, M2 again.
Got
Everything in here which is AMD should be ARM.
it. ARM 64, right?
Remember to give
Restart.
successfully ran code spaces. No rule to make target up. Are you on this repo? Shihab?
This one is the beginner CE project, right? Yeah.
Come
Yeah, let
Yeah.
me share my screen.
Mhm.
It says you cannot start screen share while. Okay.
And stop. Everybody got it up and running. Like at least your
No,
interest.
Bhavani, still I have issues, so I need your help. Probably I can share my screen later after this.
Yes. To make up data.
You might be in the parent directory.
Yeah, you have to go one level
Oh.
deep. Yeah. That's the issue.
Yep.
Where would we find the dashboard? Anchor. The dashboard is in your repository under. After it's run, it generates this dashboard.html file under scripts dashboard.html. And you can open it in a browser. I don't know how to post this from code spaces. Who wanted to share screen? Movie classifier is running for more than 6 minutes. Is that fine? Not really. It should have run fast. Can you check the log, see if you find anything out of the place? Okay, this S3 failing, for whoever this S3 is failing, please share your screen because I don't have it.
Yeah.
running.
Yes, I'll share. I on in the first step.
Let's do this.
Bhavani, I shared my screen. Let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yeah, we figured that there is something going on. Are you running on code spaces? Can you open that?
Yes.
I don't see that 9001 up. Anyone can guide me and Ravi how to restart it?
You mainly require 5432 and 8080 for like 5432 is for your menu and 8080 is for your this thing Airflow. So I don't think the other two are actually required.
5432 is Postgres and 8080 is Airflow.
No, 5432 is Minio.
No.
For my case, it worked that way. So
What?
On my local Minio is 9,000.
Minio is
oh, okay.
9001.
Oh, okay.
So what should I do, Bhavani, here?
Yeah, I'm also trying to figure out. Let me see how to restart it in my code space. Actually, if we can see the logs, that would be great. See, code spaces is the first time I'm trying out in my whole life. So Actually, let's see. Yes. Well, my menu is not running per se.
Where's the like terminal equivalent that you were running like makeup and stuff?
I think there is something set up for code spaces specifically in the repo. We got to explain.
Oh, got it. Okay, so it's running through like a different like path.
Who shares? I cannot see Zoom at all. Oh, here it is. Hmm. If you're trying to do raw Docker from code spaces, I don't think that works like that. Because Git, like, sorry, the code spaces use like a different way to set it up, is what I know. But let's see. Can you do Docker PS, Docker space PS in this terminal?
I'm just from this is the first day in my Mac, so I'm not familiar that much Mac. Okay, yeah. If want someone can share and explain. I'll stop my sharing.
No. You can start your, like, you can keep your screen like this. Let's work together on this. Oh. We might have to leave Zoom for that. No issues. In this terminal, can you type out Docker space PS?
Docker space PS, correct?
Yeah. Okay. See, now it's not showing me at all. I wonder why. It didn't show for me also. What's the problem?
If you scroll up, would it show possibly the kind of the scripts or whatever I was running? So make up.
Docker PS space -a. Let's see if the container exited for some reason.
What is code? Docker PS?
Is -a. -a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me try running mine again, see if it fails
Yeah.
on it. Because
Min.io stopped for some reason. Sorry, Bhavan. Can you do a Docker logs? Then Docker space logs space min.io. Let's see if there is any reason.
Docker space log then?
Space min.io. MINIO.
Correct?
Yes.
Please fail and great.
There's no.
So the container is not running. I have the same issue now. I can recreate it. So happy.
This is interesting. There is no failure reason in here.
I think it just exited like that. Neo is weird.
That's the entirety of the logs for it.
I'm actually very suspicious of stop. Actually, never mind. I will use mine as the trial space. So I'm going to put my Docker down and then bring it up again. Docker compose, make, restart. See if that helps.
Yeah, Maurice, can you guide me what I need to do now in this case?
I am stuck at this point.
Okay.
Ravi, what I'm doing is I have the same error now because it was running for a while. I think it exited without any issues.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I'm restarting my code like code spaces and restarting my Docker Compose. See if that's working. If it's working, then I'll suggest to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Other than so we have 3 issues. One is the Spark Java version issue, the Quatio dashboard issue, and then this Minio not getting connected. And then the other usual code space is not working. Where is the dashboard file? Any other things we are stuck on? Sorry for all the questions. That's what we are here for. Please don't be sorry. You look like this. Oh, Padmanabhan, you are a great help.
Yeah, I'll stop my sharing. Thanks.
So mine is still coming up. Hopefully. If this works, I will share the holy grail secret of how to bring Minio up. Oh, at least I see Minio now, which is a great sign. Web server is up, scheduler is up. Let's see. Airflow. Hmm. Oh, killed Postgres. Okay, triggered 4 times now. Okay. Ravi, what you can do is go to your terminal in CodeSpace and then do make restart.
Okay, one second. I'll do that.
Can someone help me how to open dashboard file from the CodeSpace? Did I miss a lot of questions by any chance? Gautam, is the movie classifier done? Did you restart it?
Yeah, it's running.
Running?
Yeah.
Did you check the logs?
Can I share my
Yeah. Maybe one second.
The participant is sharing. Okay.
How come it's happening in this one? I don't know. Yeah, please.
My first Google search for the HTML from GitHub Codespace, they're suggesting basically spin up a server on like a simple HTTP server, something like that.
So much work for seeing that through dashboards. Let me know through that. Who wanted to share? Gautam wanted to share. Permission issues. Oops. Guess what? My Spark is failing, but I don't think this is AMD issue. It's not being created. Abhishek, can you share your screen and show us the logs, please? No, this debugging is going on for a while. Yes, that is correct.
It's okay, I'll share.
It's a Windows machine.
Invisible.
Yes.
Okay, I can see all the ports running here in code spaces. But in S3 bucket, I'm getting like the bucket username which does not exist.
Were you able to go to the that first one, right? Which one are we looking at? This first one which failed?
Oh yes.
That's okay because the next one did run.
Okay.
This is your time. Particular one because maybe it could have shut it down and came up again, and it had some issues with creating the bucket. But the other ones, like the ones after the failure, it all came up right. So that's okay. Now let's look at movie classifier exactly. That's where the recent failure is.
Okay. You're saying I can see the dashboard, right?
Yeah, so your DAG ran once completely without any,
Okay.
but then again, which is not a great sign. But then at least the create S3 bucket, there is only one failure. After that, it was all success, so it's not a problem.
Okay. Where can I check the dashboard screen?
The final dashboard.
Oh yeah.
Go back to your code space.
Okay.
Under DAG scripts, the folder under DAGs.
In the tree view of files.
Okay.
The scripts dashboard dashboard.html. That's your HTML file. We need to serve it, of course.
Okay. How to do it? Maybe.
And also wondering if this is like a VS Code kind of environment, could you install extensions that like you could preview files and stuff?
I'm seriously not sure. This is also my first time running this, so.
Okay.
You open it via like a regular file explorer. It should open HTML in the browsers. Oh, this is in the code space. Oh, never mind. And all that.
This is in the code space, yeah.
Yeah, so in the, what is it? Moresh commented under my URL. I think that's one way in the terminal here. I'm also wondering on the left-hand side, you see that GitHub icon, and then above it, there's like the little squares. If you click that, does that, yeah, there's like a HTML preview extension. I wonder if you could like install it in this environment, but I'm not sure if.
We can try
yeah.
it. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, what's the name of the extension?
HTML preview.
Yes.
It's true. I don't know why. Can you just search preview? Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, fine.
Again, this is just a preview. It's not actually displaying the page. Once it's installed, go to the dashboard.html file, right click. Show preview should be there. Yeah, open preview.
It's possible maybe they disabled like JavaScript or something.
You need JavaScript for this. Something else is also happening. Can you open the actually? No, wait, I'll do that. Dashboard files. I think QMD is somehow used to render all those because if you open the QMD, there is like a script actually running. I don't know how that works. Actually, that's the file that generates the HTML. So browser, it's different. Let's see. Open the terminal.
Terminal?
No. I'm just reading stuff up to.
Yeah, maybe just to get it working for the first time, you could try running the Python server in the terminal route.
Yeah, but
and
how
then
did it
later,
files? Because I haven't done that before.
Can you come again? Sorry.
Does it also serve files? The Python server?
Yeah, it serves the files.
Okay.
Not sure whether it opens up as a HTML page or just a content. But if it's the content, we can even download and download production. But
yeah, I think if you do, I think GitHub Codespaces, it just forwards everything that's localhost to like the auto-generated domain that it gave you. So I feel like it should work if you in this terminal, do the Python 3 HTTP server thing.
I'm also trying it from my end. Let's see. Teach people. What am I trying to do? Oh yeah, this is nice. It worked. Thanks, Norish. So I'm serving the whole repository and I could get it working. Is the server running?
No.
Abhishek, can you run this command? Let me give you the command. This is wonderful.
Sorry, if I get.
Let me give you the command one second. In your terminal inside CodeSpace, run the first command, python 3-m.
Python server triple 4 page. Okay.
Hello.
Is this
Enter.
okay?
Okay, we'll Sangeet, I'll come to that in a minute. I haven't looked into what the issue is. Under DAGs, DAG script dashboard.
Okay. Hmm.
Dashboard.html.
Oh yeah. Fine.
Right. So it did. So in this repository particularly that we are following, what I found out is it's not working consistently. That
Okay.
might be a resource issue. That might be this is for everybody also. It might be a resource issue. It might be a connection issue. Minio is going down a bunch of times. Sometimes it's working. Sometimes it's not. And those are extreme issues in the repository itself, which I've noticed. Also, it's a hobby repository, so it's expected to have those. When you're doing it for production, of course, you want it fail-proof every time. And this is also a curse of running everything in your local. One thing or the other will go down and you won't get a consistent result. And none of this is your fault at the end of the day. It's not a reflection of your skills. You're just learning something, you're figuring it out, and along that way, you're making some mistakes. For example, mine didn't run the whole of morning. That's okay. That is how this should be. That's how chaotic it should be. So yeah, it's none of that is a reflection of your skills. Is what I want to give you.
Okay.
Sangeet, is the movie classifier running? Someone's movie classifier was running forever. Was that you, Abhishek? Also?
It was someone else as well, but then it's happening for me now.
It's mine. Last time I'm facing some issue with the screen share. Can I share now?
Yeah, please.
Are you able to see my screen here? Last time it's during this run only it took some more time to execute. After this one I got failed at this point, generate dashboard.
Are you on M1?
Yeah, in M1.
If you go to your repository,
Okay.
we need an ARM mission. So quarto.sh, that file right below the Docker file. Change that everything AMD to ARM.
Okay.
Make restart. It should restart and then you will get that running.
Okay.
Are you on local or on CodeSpace?
In local only.
Okay. I think the rest of us over here we have the environment of everything running. So let's spend like 10 minutes going through this file without making stop.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to spend like 10 minutes is enough. Yeah. Going through this file, which is called useranalytics.py, which is your DAG, which you are seeing in Airflow that we ran, which ran successfully. All of this is happening here. And you're going to get a bunch of questions along the way. Oh, what the hell is this? How does this work? How does this connect to S3? All of those questions. So we're going to capture these questions alone for the next 10 minutes. And then the next 10 minutes, we'll find answers to them. You don't have to, you can Google it, find answers, but then spend like 10 minutes going through each and every line of this file, see what's happening, understand what's happening, and then we will have a discussion on this 10 minutes later. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Cool. 10 minutes on the clock. Yeah, I'm actually inventing questions, but if you have a real question, put it down. Great question, Justin.
Okay, sorry about this. Still stuck on the movie classifier step. I did fix the part.sh thing.
Okay. So we'll come to that in a bit.
Cool.
While I spend time going through the DAG,
Okay.
we're getting it that running, we can do it. Yeah, I know answers to majority of the questions I'm asking, but if you are stuck, you should ask those questions, please. And no questions is left unturned. We are almost at time. That's time. How was the reading session? Code reading session. Oh God. Now the answers are flowing in, I guess. What is this slash bracket in line 110? Okay. I think we have a ton of questions to answer. I'm going to go through again. We are not restricted to the questions on the chat alone. We can ask more questions. So let's make this engaging and let's learn together. Right? Actually, a major question: what is an operator? What is a provider? What is a DAG? Anybody figured that? What is a transfer? Is that
Are all those like packages with inbuilt functions and class? Like
computer environment? Okay.
like in Airflow, a package which consists of a set of classes and functions, same like in Java, and over there we just do it as an extend. And from here we mention that, like from you mention the package, and then we mention what needs to be imported from that package, and after importing it, what it should be named over here, right?
Yeah, perfect. I think that's summing it up in a very broad sense. It's all packages of Airflow and it comes with a part of the bundle, right? Great. But then one level deeper, I just want you to give like everyone a taste of Airflow because it's my favorite tool for a reason, even though it gives you misery most of the times. If there is one thing I want you all to take away from the session, it's going to be Airflow. So again, Airflow is not paying me for this. Documentation. Yeah, my system is terribly slow. Maybe I should put down Docker because we don't need it. Okay. So Airflow has the Airflow itself, and it comes with a bunch of provider packages which can be used for integration with outside world. On the core, it has a bunch of operators, and outside that, it has the providers. Providers are for connecting with the external systems, whereas operators are for basic Airflow tasks, be it running a Python script, be it running a Bash script. If you are doing anything within the Airflow ecosystem, all of that goes under Airflow itself, operators itself, whereas when you're using an external system, it goes under providers. So that's the first distinction. Inside providers, you will have operators, transfers, sensors, all of this. So operator is doing a particular task. Transfer is transferring from one logic to one place to another. The code for all of that is pre-written. And then sensors is checking an external event whether that is happening. So sensors, we have not used it here, but you can also have a sensor instead of speed 30, you can have a sensor checking a particular task is done or not, right? The second thing that you notice if you go down is like this Python code, which is writing and reading to getting data from the S3 folder. Any questions in this section? Yes, no, don't know. No.
One question, the one that you asked about on how to set. Okay, sorry. I had a question on the next session. This one
Okay. Cool. So next, this whole DAG, this one. So anytime you see with it is like a context manager in Python. Context manager is for the next whole block that a variable is going to be alive. That's what it means, right? And something happens over here is where we initialize the DAG. So this is equal to doing DAG equal to DAG off, right? Both are same with a minute difference. If you do it this way, you have to pass the DAG throughout for every operator. DAG equal to DAG, right? Instead of doing that, we are creating the context manager, and within the context manager, it will take everything inside this and then maps it to that particular DAG. So we are creating a directed acyclic graph. This is the graph object. Inside that graph, there's going to be operators. So I'm going to remove this. So this is the graph. And to this, we have to pass a graph name, which is like that workflow's name. and then we give it a description. Schedule interval is every day, every minute, every hour. You can decide. If you want it to run on a Friday afternoon, 12 p.m., you can do that too. And then start date. Let's say you want to run, like your project has came, you've written the workflow, and the project is coming like going to start from next week. Then you set the start date to then only the schedule starts. That's the beauty of start date. And then catch up equal to false is very unique. Let's say your start date is 2023 in this case, right? And then your schedule interval is every day. If you have set catch up equal to true, please do try it later in your code space because your local might crash. If you set catch up equal to true from 2023 New Year until today, it will set up those many DAGs. It will run those many instances. So this is for every day, right? It would have ran 365 plus how many ever days has passed. So it would have ran so many things from the past. So catch up is basically whether you want to run things from the past or not. That is really useful in cases where you're doing backfill jobs where the data has already came and sat in your source, but you haven't moved it to the destination yet. So you want that to happen. So catch up equal to false means you don't care about the past data, you only care about the present data. But when you are setting it to true, it means backfill. That is a concept in data engineering, and you backfill from your source data to the destination. So now we are setting it to false. Any questions on DAG initialization itself?
One quick question on the catch-up thing that you are explaining. So basically, it's like we in the earlier session, right? So we were talking about the data engineering is categorized into like for streaming and batching process, right? So catch-up is basically might be used for true. I mean, like catch-up equal to true would be used for batch operations, and catch-up equal to false would be used for stream operations, kind of that way, or
So Airflow does not deal with batch, or you can use it for batching, but it does not or should not deal with that level of data engineering is what I feel personally.
no.
Airflow should only do the orchestration. You want to do streaming, do it in Apache Beam or Apache Spark. You want to do batch processing, do it in Spark or a BigQuery. Don't bring that logic into Airflow. Airflow just has to do the orchestration part. Oh, this job has to go here. It should have ran for 10 minutes. I didn't get a response yet, so I will raise an alert. It's only for those kind of use cases. That's why I'm saying that it's an orchestrator, right?
So it means if the catch up is false, then we will work on the current interval data, and if it is true, then we'll work on all of the intervals data. Right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Also, there's this other concept we haven't seen this year. We will always take the current time of when the DAG is running and use it predominantly. There are macros for us to do it. When the Airflow DAG is running, we'll take that particular timestamp when it's running and then use it, send it to different systems to bring that all together, that it's running in that particular timestamp, right? So that is also possible, but for the simplicity of today's session, we are going to just keep it like this. Another important concept, create S3 bucket, S3 create bucket operator. We are passing a task ID and a bucket name. That's it. We are not saying where is that bucket, how are we supposed to connect to it. Nothing is being mentioned here. And if you go to, I don't know, my local is not set up that way to go to the thing, but actually let's go here to the documentation and Apache, AWS, right? Amazon. Under Amazon, you can see operators, and in here you will see S3. Did I say SE?
Bhavani, can you share a screen?
I am sharing the whole screen. Desktop is shared.
We are able to see the
Oh,
I can see.
okay. Sorry, I was on another.
That's
Sorry.
okay. Let's see. Under operators, okay, Python API, S3 operator. By the way, I have used it so many times. I have been living in this documentation. That's why I know my way. If you don't, it's okay. So yeah, two things we have passed. This is the S3 bucket operator, and to this we are passing the bucket name AWS connection ID, which is by default AWS default, and there is a region name which you can pass, and there are a bunch of kwargs. Kwargs are basically like optional parameters. You send, you don't send, doesn't matter. So we're gonna leave that. So bucket name we are passing, and then task ID we are passing. Task ID is like every task in Airflow will have a task ID. This is the unique thing that you will see on the Airflow UI. Whereas this bucket name is the bucket that we want to create. But how does it know where to create, right? Which AWS account? What is the token? All of that comes from this connection ID. And where is this connection ID? If you go to your Airflow, I hope this is still running. Under admin, you will see connections. Here is where your AWS default is. And whenever you're using Airflow, even for your work, if you go back and use, don't ever touch anything that says default. I mean, in production per se. If you're using Google or AWS, anything that says default, you don't touch it. But how is this created? How is this Spark-on and AWS default created is inside your setup connection.py. So this ran when you did Docker compose up. One of those thing is to create this create this connection. So here is where we are creating these AWS connections with the access key and the secret key. So Airflow has something called connections, and we are creating these connections at the startup so that we can use it later. And that is what is referred in by that particular operator, that code. You're using AWS, but you're running in Minio. It's running in your local 9000. Okay, this is my region, this is my access key. That's how Airflow figures it out, and then uses this credentials to get do that job. Right? So it goes to the connection, gets the connection details, and does that job. Similarly for Spark, it's running in your local at 7077 port. Spark, the thing is, it runs in local. You don't need a cluster or anything. It can spin up a cluster and then shut it down. Not really spinning it up, spins up a process, runs the Spark, shuts it down. So that's how this happens. Any questions on the connection per se?
I have a quick question on that. So we had to set up connection.py file, right? And I could see in the same Docker file under the same folder, I can see that we are copying that particular setup connection file to the Airflow home path. But never ever I couldn't see any run command that we have mentioned in here. So how does it know that it needs to run this particular Python file in order to create a connection?
Setup con. I think it had.
Okay. Got it. Perfect.
Spins up the Docker containers and then finally runs the command.
Got it.
So literally, it's entering the Docker container and then running the command.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on. Any questions on this? Okay. Cool.
I had a question on the earlier when you're going over the time stuff. I'm guessing that like the date time, if
Yeah, it uses the system time.
System time, and then for when it's scheduling stuff, like I'm guessing, I mean, this might be obvious, but just to make sure, like if the Airflow like process isn't running, like it won't be able to schedule anything, right?
Come again?
Like in Docker, we have that scheduler container or scheduler process, and that's like that's basically Airflow, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's running.
I think
and so if that, sorry.
That's a good leeway for us to understand the architecture.
Okay.
Installation. I don't know where they put this now. It's never mind. Another place. Airflow architecture. This is a little older diagram, but this is the simplest diagram also. So here it is. Yes. Architecture overview. Yeah, this has changed a little bit in the recent years, but it still holds. So when you see your Docker, do we have the time? Okay, we do have time. I don't have Docker running. So when you looked at your Docker, you would have seen web server, you would have seen scheduler, and this metadata database is your Postgres. And there are workers which we didn't see today, but when you're doing it in production, we will have separate workers, which is Celery workers running. But for now, scheduler in current setup that we had today, scheduler acts as a worker also. So this is how Airflow is actually running. You have your DAGs, the scheduler constantly reads this DAG, see if there is any errors. For example, one thing you can try is make an obvious error in your DAG and see how scheduler freaks out and says, hey, something's wrong with your DAG, right? And then it sends to metadata database that, hey, there are few DAGs that came up and this needs to be scheduled. And when it's ready to schedule, it spin ups that worker and then passes on the task to the worker for it to complete. Once it's complete, scheduler again says, hey, metadata database, here are the 5 tasks, I just finished it. Can you update it? And then web server constantly seeks that input from database to show it in the UI, right? So
And
that's
in our case, the database is Postgres.
in our case, the database is Postgres. You can
Okay.
also use MySQL. I don't think there is any support for anything else. Or SQLite is there, but that's for local. Mostly we'll just set up Postgres. Workers, you have Kubernetes. You can actually create a Kubernetes pod, run the task there, shut it down. You can also run Celery workers all the time so that it will run the task. You can have a combination of those two. The final one is local executor, which is what we are using today, which is scheduler acting as the worker also. So that's how this Airflow works, right? And that's where these operators are. I think I will also go all the way to this section because this is where we had most classes. So in Airflow UI, where is our oh, this is still up? That's not up. I will use the screenshots. This graph. We have constructed something like this, a graph, right? And we need to say which task has to happen after which task, like the dependency. That is what graph is like. You have to mention the dependency. And for that, we are using the shift right operator, right? In our case, creating S3 bucket and then user purchase, like if you can have your DAG right there, it will be easy to visualize, but for some reason, mine is not coming up. So let's see. Yeah, I think all my system is down. That's okay. So create S3 bucket has, it depends on 2 things. It leaves to 2 things. User, actually, we have this. No? Yes. Create S3 bucket has 2 parts. One is user purchase in S3 and then the review. Both happens parallelly. And that's why we have this. And that's why we have this list. So these 2 are not dependent on each other, but both are dependent on S3. That's the first line. Next, from user purchase S3, there is one line going, and then there is from movie review S3, there is one line going, right? So user purchase S3, there is one dependency graph. Oops. And then from movie review S3, there is one dependency graph. Finally, after these 2 is completed, like generate user purchase is completed and movie is completed, those 2 has to club together. And then finally, we have to run, once these 2 are complete, we have to run generate user metric and the generate dashboard. So we are bringing those 2 together in one list and then linking it to the next 2 tasks. So basically, anytime you want to merge 2 tasks, one after the other, you use the shift right operator. Anytime you want to run them in parallel, you put a list next to them, right? Again, there are a bunch of permutations, combinations, but that's the whole understanding. Create, and what are these? These are independent operators that we created over the period of time. Python operator, bash operator, all of that. Questions?
Yeah, but like bit shift operators, don't they work on like numbers? And so what happens like here?
Okay, that's like Python 201 class. In Python, you can define, okay, actually, I can show you this. Let's see. I might be a little rusty working on this. Okay, in Python, there are handles to change the default behavior of a class, right? In Python, everything is an object, everything is a class. So let's say you have a class called number, and this number is going to take one object, one input, cell, comma, n, and this is going to be, oh, this is why I don't do terminal stuff. Never mind, actually. Temp.py, move it all the way here. I don't know whether my Copilot is up. Yes. So, and then you have this add. So I can basically, in Python, you have all these special dunder methods which you can extend and change the behavior of the class itself. For example, I can extend add and make it behave like a subtraction. So what happens is when I create two objects, number of 10 plus number of 20, the answer should have been, also we need an str method, which is going to print, yeah. So print.
Okay, I guess in my head, I'm translating it to like, because I come from like the JavaScript world. It's like messing with the prototype kind of, and then, yeah, okay.
Yes, so like you can make these changes. Similarly, I think there is shift right. I don't remember it exactly, but there will be some method in here that does that. R shift, if I'm not wrong, or yeah, R shift. So that is what's happening here. What happens is you take that operator class, and to that operator class you define certain logic such that these two, it's a graph, and these two means it's nodes and they are connected. So that logic goes into Airflow. That's written by Airflow. The source code is out there if you want to go read, definitely. Yes, absolutely correct, Maurish, about the context manager. Good job trying that out. What else? What are the questions we had? In those examples, variables established in with statement is explicitly okay. Any other questions?
So these are Python files. Is what Airflow, is Airflow written in Python?
Yes.
Okay.
Airflow is written in Python. All the DAGs that you write on top of Airflow should be written in Python because that's the one that it understands. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what Airflow can do, but then we haven't even touched Spark. Spark is also happening behind the scenes. This is a Spark file. I don't know whether we have time. Maybe we can take 5 minutes going through the Spark file. If Airflow didn't break your brain, maybe Spark will. Do we want to do that? No, if there are no questions, we can do this. Yes, no, maybe.
One quick question. I want to go back to the catch part of it. The DAG constructor, right? So we provided the DAG constructor, we provided a parameters catch up equals false.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we say like catch up equal to like false, Right now, okay, that will get the current time,
Yes.
right? But how does it know that like these data are actually I mean, like came into the system after this particular time, or like how does it know when we are running it? So it's like when you start running your DAG, after that anything comes into your bucket or your data store, right, which you are subscribed to. So that would be taken into account when we are providing a false.
You're asking, say it's running for the past. How does it know? It has to deal with the past data.
Kind of close to that, but question is like how does it know deal with the upcoming data when we said we sent as false?
When you set it as false, you're scheduling it to run every day, right?
Sorry?
When the catch-up is false, it will start today. It will start at the previous, like if you have set it as false and you have started your DAG today, which means it will run the previous schedule and wait for the next schedule.
Okay.
So this is like it runs on a schedule interval, right? So it will run today's schedule and then wait for tomorrow's. Tomorrow it will again check if there is new data, runs for that.
Okay, so it checks for the new data, whether it's coming into the system or not. So from the sources, yeah. Okay, no, that's
That's
what.
why we do this, right? Once we load the data, we will also move that data into a different folder. That's like a data engineering practice. So let's say your raw files is coming from an external system put into S3. It will be under a folder. Once you process it, you have to move it to a different system, different folder, so that it doesn't get processed again.
Okay, got it.
After it does not do it, you as a data engineer has to think about, oh, what happens if that file gets executed again? I'll be in deep shit. Let's not do it.
Got it. Just wanted to understand like if Airflow can track it or not.
Airflow can't track it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I think there was more votes for breaking the brain. Let's go look at the Spark. I'm not as expert in Spark, so I might not able to answer most questions, but I can answer some questions. All right. This is a fairly smaller file. Questions? Am I audible?
Yeah. Spark? Isn't Spark a Java thing?
Mm-hmm. All right, let's start there then. Spark. I think it's going to give me some random stuff. Okay, no, it knows me better. Cool. Spark is this, again, unified engine for data analytics. Finally, it's not a data orchestrator. It's not bringing together a bunch of things. It can do batch, it can do streaming, it can do SQL based analytics, it can run machine learning stuff. It can also do data science. Initially, early days of Spark, it was primarily written in Java and all the pipelines were in Java. But as the data ecosystem grew, the integrations with Python has been heavy. So you write your pipeline, the Spark pipeline in Python, and then you run it in a Java ecosystem. Right. So initially, again, it started only as a batch system, but as the need of the market grew, they also integrated streaming, they also integrated machine learning. So all of this came later, but Spark has always been from the Hadoop times, it has always been for batch. So that's something it does well. And here you can see on top of the Java thing, they have written it in Python, SQL, the Spark SQL is a specific thing. You can write it in Scala, you can write it in Java, you can write it in R. And I'm not I know more Airflow than Spark. So my knowledge comes very little. So yeah, again, documentation is my go-to place for everything. Let's go back here. HDFS, right? So Hadoop file system. Basically, I just want to give you a brief understanding. When you write it in a plain Python script, you can write this in a plain Python script where you load this 30,000 records and then do this processing. You can use NLTK, there is a library, there is tokenization library, scikit-learn, all of these libraries are there. You can write it as a plain Python script. The problem with that is it's serialized, right? One has to, you have to take one record, process it, write it, take the next record. Of course, you can use parallelization and all that, but it's not that efficient because ultimately you're not optimizing for resources. You're doing your best, but you need some system which does this well. So Hadoop file system is something like that. The MapReduce concept was introduced in Hadoop, and that is pretty much what it does. Hadoop is really good at splitting your data into chunks, processing them, combining them, and writing it back. And it does it so beautifully in the distributed manner. So you can have 4 different clusters. Apart from your laptop, you can have 4 or 5 different workers, and your data will be split across all these workers. It does the transformation and then writes the logic back to the master. So that is why you don't see it in the code at all. For example, here all you're doing is reading that CSV. And here all you're doing is just tokenizing that CSV into different words. But what happens behind the scenes, it's split into this multiple chunks. Depending on the number of workers you have, it's split across these workers, does the tokenization, writes it back. Again, it splits that output, writes it to the, does the transformation, writes it back. Stop words removing similarly. So this MapReduce is one of the famous papers. It actually disrupted the whole data engineering ecosystem. It was actually a predecessor for so many other systems like BigQuery's. I forgot the name, but BigQuery's thing came as a rip-off, like initial ones that came as a rip-off after Hadoop. So this particular Spark has won the, not Spark particularly, but the Hadoop ecosystem has won the data engineering ecosystem like that. So what is the form of SIMD? What is SIMD? I'm hearing it for the first time.
I've heard it in the context of GPUs for single instruction, multiple data. Wondering if that concept applies here for what Hadoop does or Spark does behind the scenes.
I am not sure. Seriously, I'm hearing this term first time. Yeah, I think it has something to do with it. Spark GPU is another thing that's going on, I guess. Yeah, this is something for me to explore as well. But that's the underlying mechanism. And on top of that, you have all these data frame functions. Data frame, if you have used Python, pandas, that's exactly what Spark also does, but in a distributed fashion. The interfaces are very similar, and finally you write it all to an output location. And that is Spark for you. if you have specific questions, I can answer them, but then that's what's happening at the broader level.
Cool. Thank you.
We are all data engineers now. Yes, we are very close to being data engineers now. I think next steps, right? Today we didn't write a lot of code. All we did was set up some stuff, run some stuff, understand what is going on, and that itself took 3 hours. And that is very normal. That is extremely normal. In fact, that is exactly what I expected. I wasn't expecting you to write this whole thing again. But then I hope it did induce some curiosity in you, like what the hell is happening? How does this all actually work? And you can do that only by writing some code. And that is why I gave you like an empty repository without anything. So over the next weekend or whenever you find time, maybe spend like 15 minutes every day to copy this exact repository into your own repository, but then not copy paste, try to recreate it from scratch, hit those hurdles. We had so many issues today, but we tackled them all together. That's the point of learning dev as a community, to hit those roadblocks, unblock us all together, and then move forward. So when you find the time next, set up the Docker Compose, right? Like write the Docker file from scratch, write that make file from scratch. Let it fail, figure out why it fails, and then try to set this whole repository from scratch, and that will be a great learning experience. That definitely will make you a data engineer for sure. I can guarantee that. So that's all I planned for this session. We took something existing. I've noted down all the issues we had. I'm going to share that back to the repository. Thoughts, questions, comments?
This is cool. Yeah, I like the live, like run into issues and troubleshoot aspect of it.
Mhm. Thanks, Justin.
It was a great one for me. And like I'm checking this Python, Apache Airflow, all these things for the first time, and it really is intriguing me to learn more about it. And the first time exposing to a data engineering stream too, and all these things is overwhelming to some extent. The Spark and the internals of all Airflow and everything. But yeah, but at the same time, it intrigues me to learn more about it, and it's pretty exciting.
Thank you, Maurish. I think that you have elaborated it pretty well. Like everything is overwhelming at some level because you don't know, like, what the hell is this? How is this even running? All of that is valid feelings to have. If you're not having with these feelings, you're a superhuman. So yeah, I would like to know more. Like, people, you can put it on chat. What is the one big takeaway from this event?
Setting up the environment is a new thing. So we started with this is a good start. So we need to deep dive into, as you suggested, to build it from scratch with own hand. Yeah.
Definitely. Uh, Especially with data engineering, the infrastructure is the hard part. Once you set up a perfect infrastructure, which can happen so rarely, everything else will kind of happen smoothly, because writing those workflows is easy. It's just maintaining that infrastructure is difficult. What's Airflow? Great. At least one takeaway was my goal. If any of you are comfortable putting your video on, we can take the group photo. Be great. Oh, nice seeing all the faces. I should have asked it for the start of the event. Should we do it? Anyone else? Hi, Sangeet. Oh, wow. Hi, Rajni. Cool. I'm going to take a picture quickly. Smile. All right. I'm going to save it. Thank you so much. I hope I had a great session first time. Thank you. Thank you. Airflow seems to like, doesn't seem so inscrutable now. Okay, and all those things is what I expected for the session. Again, this is the first event of the Learning Dev, and I'm glad that you all had fun. If you have any feedbacks on how to make it better, or hey Bhavani, can you host a session on this? Please do. And I know all of you are software engineers, all of you have great things to teach. If you want to be in my position and host a session and teach me and others something, please write to me for that also. I would love to have you as the host and learn from you. And follow-up session on, we can have it. How would you want that to go, Sangeet?
Okay, maybe like everyone trying out something there and altering something on the pipeline out there.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can put out a co-working
Because Python is pretty new for me. I've been just looking at Python after like 5 years. So everything is like I'm again from Java based background, and this is all pretty new for me. But still able to understand part of it, and not able to understand stuff there. But yeah.
Yes, people who have joined from other time zones, big thank you. I know, Justin, it's too late for you. I'll try to match, but let's see. If I do it in the night, all the Indians will be asleep. If I do it in the morning, all the US people will be asleep. Maybe 2 events. That's also on my mind. Sangeet, to address you, I will do that since I know him. I'm gonna ask. I will do that in exchange for a Kotlin session with Learning Dev.
Yeah, sure.
All right, deal.
So yeah, we can do a simple Android project or anything like a server project on Kotlin. That should also be good.
Definitely. Yeah, Rachel, that's pretty much what I was giving you as a homework, you can say. Try writing a simple pipeline from scratch, just 3 different hellos. Hello, print something, and then good night. It can be a simple pipeline. Try writing that. All of those experiments, I want you to take those shots without even this session. That's the whole idea of Learning Dev. Reminds me, I guess, yeah, we are all here. We are perfectly on time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'm going to wrap this session. Actually, I will leave this for a little bit if you want to stay back and chat. But otherwise, you're free to go. Thank you so much once again for joining. I will see you again on a follow-up or a different session or something that one of you hosts. Whatever it will be, you will get an email. Thank you so much.